To help extract a little more information and draw out some more information for artists, how can artists ensure their vision aligns with community needs and project requirements?
That's a big one. It's a meaty one. Often a well-written RFQ or RFP will really directly state what they're looking for and how they want that represented. Um, Sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
but ideally it states, what the community is requesting, where the project is coming from, what the project needs, what the requirements are. Um, Sometimes an artist has to dig in a little deeper, and sometimes that can help. Um, so do a little bit more research about the community where the art's going to be located. Dig into other events and art things that are happening in that neighborhood. See what else you can find out about the people involved in the call. Do a little research about who's sponsoring this, who are the people involved, who are the entities involved. Even if you don't directly address it, just you as an artist knowing that can sometimes help how you approach or how you craft the tone of your response. And everyone in the world just wants to be seen, right? So even in these calls, they are looking for an artist that fits them. So if
Hmm.
you can reflect back to them that you see who they are and what they're looking for, you're gonna have a stronger chance of resonating with that group. So if you can do the a little bit more digging to research who the group is behind the call, so you can reply to the words that are not written, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's exactly why
Um,
we're doing this. I feel like we can help them see what's not there.
yeah. And sometimes these calls will explicitly state what they want. Like they will get down to, we want a sculpture that is representative of a tree that is this size and this shape. And you may not be an artist who makes trees. Maybe you're an artist that makes figurative bronze.
Yeah.
But you can take the responsive energy of what they're asking for, and you can figure out a way that, I mean, if you're drawn to this call because it seems like there's something in there that resonates for you, even though you've never done a figurative tree,
Yeah.
or a tree sculpture, um, show images that feel like they could align with that, and then just talk about why you're so drawn and why you feel connected to this group and their mission and what they're trying to do and how you can help and align with what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Their values, trying to align with their
Yeah,
values. It,
yeah.
the artwork gets to be the mirror.
And then, it's also okay if you dig into the call and you learn about it and you feel like, this might not be the right fit for me at this time. That's okay too. You still, as an artist, learn just by digging in, just by digging through it, doing the research, thinking about it, thinking, starting to maybe even draft a response. And then if it feels like this may not be the right fit right now, that's okay.
Hmm.
You can
Hmm.
proceed and submit it just for the experience, or you can choose to move on, like take that draft and apply it towards the next thing that looks like a good idea.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Like, I feel like artists, it's always this hard thing when there's so many available
Yeah.
opportunities and calls. How do you find what's the right fit? Um, you do have to do a lot of reading. You have to do a lot of deep thinking about who you are as an artist and what your work is trying to say in order to communicate it back to a group.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then there's kind of some logistical things with these calls too of, you know, if it's not clear in the call, like try to find out or see if there's someone you can contact of what are the expectations of the group. Do they have community involvement as part of what they expect of the artist?
Oh,
Um,
like additional programming around the
right.
sculpture or 2D piece. Mm,
Hmm. And
love
sometimes
that.
a group may not know yet, but that does come up sometimes, depending on what this group is looking for.
Yeah. And being able, the artist being able to advocate for themselves with that great question, I think will also allow
Hmm.
the artist, the group, to see how valuable the artist and their work will be just with that one question. that they could continue to do programming, especially if they have somebody
Hmm.
new, you know, positions get they have a turnover rate too in these groups. So sometimes the artist gets to teach the group something too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not always, it's not always an obligation or a part of these calls, but sometimes it does come up, or sometimes it's stated that that's expected. Sometimes it's not.
Okay.
Um, for instance, just a real world example, in city of Seattle, we're getting more and more requests for if there's going to be a public art that's public facing or outdoors or interacting with the street. Sometimes that has to go to the design review board,
Hmm.
at least as far as like being a proposal of we're proposing this size and scale of this sort of piece. They may not know exactly what that is yet, but sometimes the artist gets involved early on. So it's just trying to find out if that would be expected,
Good
or if
one.
that's going to be part of the call that you're potentially getting involved in.
Love that. I feel like
Um,
that's a huge value for artists just with that question right there. Yeah.
uh, Another one, I think this actually kind of goes back a little bit to the previous question, thinking about like a little logistics also of just when you're responding to these calls to be not only concise, but precise with what they are actually requesting and looking for. So if they say we want a word count of 300, don't send 310. If we want a, image size and file name convention a certain way, make sure you follow that. It just makes it easier for the panel to organize and sort and include your submission.
That's also just a key point that I wanted to wrap with you on because I often work with calls for artists as well. And I'm continually asking them to put submit the image with a certain title, their title in the artworks. And I'll continually get huffs and puffs. And I'm like, it's still a human on the other side receiving their information. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
automation happening, most certainly. Um, but there's always a human looking at it on the other side and having to file it somewhere to show somebody else on the other
Mm-hmm.
end, on the stakeholder side. So artists, make it easy for us to find your information in our files. Like if we have to
Mm-hmm.
spend more and more time renaming your information, it's a time suck and it's a fun suck, and then it makes it less professional. Like it just is like, oh, I love their work, but if they're hard to work with emotionally, I'm not going to be attracted to continually working with that person at all.
Very true. That is all very valid. Another consideration, which sometimes I'm able to get through the artists who get huffy and puffy about, oh, I don't want to have to rename my files. Um, if you don't, sometimes they get lost.
Yeah.
So sometimes it won't make it through the submission form at all if it's not under the right, like if it's not following the right prescriptive for whatever system they're using, which there's so many different systems now. I wish it was all universal. I wish it, but it's not.
It's
There's
not.
so many systems that people can use to do these sorts of calls. And um, the requests are there for a reason. It's either the human hour time side just to organize everything, or it's that it's going into a system that's auto sorting. And if it's not following the convention, sometimes it gets missed. And you don't want your submission to get missed. You put all
No.
this work into it. You don't want it to fall into an AI black hole. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's good to follow the convention if it's set out.
Yeah. I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it, but we who are making the calls are trying to make it as easy as possible.